WWE was reportedly very concerned about possible Sami Zayn chants during the Paul Heyman and Cody Rhodes segment this past Monday night on Raw. Also an update on WWE talent believing Vince McMahon has returned to WWE Creative. A Battle Royal has been announced for the upcoming WWE show at Madison Square Garden with WrestleMania and Intercontinental Championship implications. Brock Lesnar versus Omar seemingly is set to be confirmed for WrestleMania 39. We've got details on that. Speaking of WrestleMania, we've got details on creative plans for Trish Stratus, Lita and Becky Lynch as we get closer to the showcase of the Immortals. We've also got the ratings for this week's edition of Monday Night Raw. What's the current status of Cameron Grimes in WWE? Also an update on the ticket sales after the announcement that John Cena will be returning to Monday Night Raw in Boston in March. What's the latest when it comes to Pat McAfee's status in the WWE? He's spoken on his future with the company, and also an update on WWE 2K23 My GM mode. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of World Wrestling Entertainment. And let's start off talking about, I guess, one of the biggest talking points as we get closer to WrestleMania. That is the main event on the grandest stage of them all. Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. But what's going on with Sami Zayn? It looks like it's going to be Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens versus the Usos. But WWE is more than aware of the overwhelming popularity of Sami Zayn, despite losing against Roman Reigns in his hometown of Montreal, Quebec, Canada at Elimination Chamber last weekend. It appears that WWE is doing everything possible to avoid their main championship storyline being taken off course heading into WrestleMania 39. According to Wrestling Observer Radio, the company was, quote, very concerned about Sami Zayn chants breaking out during Cody Rhodes' segment this past Monday night on Raw. The report suggests that the promotion carefully plotted the 2023 Men's Royal Rumble winner's appearance so that fans wouldn't have the opportunity to shout for Zayn, with Paul Heyman immediately interrupting Rhodes after making his entrance. The alleged feeling behind the curtain at WWE is that if the chants were to happen, it would hurt Rhodes' momentum heading into his undisputed WWE Universal Championship match against Roman Reigns in April. As far as the quote itself, this is what Dave Meltzer had to say on Wrestling Observer Radio, saying, quote, the stuff with Cody and Heyman, they were very concerned about Sami chants, which is one of the reasons why they got Heyman out there in seconds. They did not want Cody to be in there by himself because they thought that it didn't happen, but they did everything in their power to make sure they kept that moving. They did not allow the audience a chance to start chanting or anything like that. It was just back and forth. It was designed to give the audience no chance to chant because of the feeling that if they did, it would hurt Cody's momentum. And perhaps it would. And then it could create that groundswell, which is exactly what they don't want right now. Now, certainly, it's quite interesting, isn't it, that despite the popularity for Zayn, WWE appears to be doing everything in their power to ensure the fans don't change course when it comes to WrestleMania. Of course, WWE departed Ottawa, Ontario, Canada on Monday night without any damage done to Rhodes' position. The segment began with fans chanting for the American Nightmare, again, seemingly quelling the fears that WWE had, before Paul Heyman appeared on the screen. The wise man would rile up the challenger by referencing his family. The scene concluded with an angry Rhodes again declaring that he had to finish his story, becoming the first member of the Rhodes family to win a WWE World title by beating Reigns in Los Angeles. Meanwhile, Zayn did appear on Raw earlier on after he unsuccessfully challenged Roman Reigns for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship at the Elimination Chamber Premium Live events. The former honorary Uso opened the broadcast by proposing that he and Kevin Owens unite to take down the Bloodline. However, Owens left Zayn in the ring and said he wanted nothing to do with him. It's currently unclear what direction Zayn will take on the road to WrestleMania 39, but as I said, it is expected that he and Owens will unite to take on the Usos for the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships, but anything can and will happen in the world of World Wrestling Entertainment, so I guess we'll have to wait and see. Now, speaking of the road to WrestleMania, it's going to be plagued by rumors of a Vince McMahon return to creative. Now, yesterday we spoke about a tweet from Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful that he said that a talent within WWE had said to him that they believed that Vince McMahon had returned to creative in WWE. Sapp had noted that it had not been confirmed and that Fightful would get more information to try and confirm or debunk the belief. In an update, Sean Ross Sapp took to Twitter, noting that those within WWE that would be in the position to know told him that the fears were unfounded. He said, quote, "Sources within WWE that would be in the position to know tell Fightful Select that those fears are unfounded. We couldn't get any confirmations on these talents' fears, as noted in the original post." Triple H has been open that Vince has input and has been adamant to talent that Triple H has the final say. Of course, Vince McMahon returned to WWE back in January in an attempt to orchestrate a potential sale of the company. Again, it depends what happens with all of this, because it could just be Vince McMahon and Triple H having the discussions. If it's only those two, who would know apart from Triple H? However, according to SAP, those that would be in the position to know, whether it's Triple H himself, are saying that the fears are unfounded once again for now. Speaking of WrestleMania, the road to WrestleMania for the Intercontinental Champion Gunther appears to be a bit more open now. An Intercontinental Championship #1 contenders match has been announced for the upcoming Madison Square Garden WWE event. On March 12, WWE will visit the Garden for a Road to WrestleMania house show ahead of a WrestleMania 39 event, which takes place on April 1st and April 2nd. Madison Square Garden have now shared a graphic for a 20-man battle royal, which will determine the next challenger for the Intercontinental Championship. MSG tweeted, quote, "20-man battle royal with the winner to face Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship at WWE Road to WrestleMania at MSG on March 12th. Now, the following stars have been confirmed for the match: Drew McIntyre, Sheamus, The New Day, that being Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, Rey Mysterio, Bobby Lashley, Finn Balor, The Miz, Damian Priest, Dominic Mysterio, Johnny Gargano, Omos, Dexter Lumis, Bronson Reed, Rick Boogs, Santos Escobar, Braun Strowman, Ricochet, Baron Corbin, and Karrion Kross. Gunther has held the Intercontinental Championship since defeating Shinsuke Nakamura for the gold in June of 2022. Since February 9, WWE has touted Gunther as the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of the 21st century. There have previously been rumors and speculation he could defend his title against Sheamus and Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania. Of course, both are in this battle royal, so I don't know if we get a kind of non-finish with both, kind of akin to Bret Hart and Lex Luger, or John Cena and Batista, and they both go to WrestleMania. Maybe it's just a case of Drew McIntyre wins, Gunther beats him, and then Sheamus gets involved and we get to WrestleMania that way. Either way, this could be the beginning of Gunther finding out who his opponent or opponents will be on the grandest stage of them all later this year. Speaking of WrestleMania, it caught many people by surprise when Omos challenged Brock Lesnar earlier on this week to a match at WrestleMania. There has been a lot of speculation about the planned WrestleMania opponent of Brock Lesnar following a bizarre week for the Beast incarnate. Lesnar faced off with Bobby Lashley at Elimination Chamber, with the finish being Brock Lesnar getting intentionally disqualified to give Lashley the victory. The finish naturally led people to believe that Lesnar and Lashley would be having a rematch at WrestleMania, potentially with a stipulation added to it. However, Bray Wyatt also threw his hat into the ring on last week's SmackDown, challenged the winner of the match to run, which of course technically was Lashley. He was the one that technically won the match after Lesnar was disqualified. Confusion then sprang up when MVP challenged Brock Lesnar on behalf of his client Omos for a match at WrestleMania this past Monday night on Raw. MVP, of course, has been teasing a reunion of the Hurt Business recently, which led many people to believe that the tease was a red herring to further set up the match between Lesnar and Lashley for WrestleMania. However, as per Dave Meltzer on Wrestling Observer Radio, WWE is indeed planning for Lesnar to face off with Omos at WrestleMania, with Lashley set to face off against Wyatt. Lesnar is set to answer Omos' WrestleMania challenge on next week's edition of Monday Night Raw on the USA Network. Again, Lesnar versus Omos, a match that I don't think anyone saw coming and anyone wanted. As that famous Kevin Owens clip goes, nobody asked for that, but it looks like we're getting it regardless. A really strange story has been developing when it comes to Trish Stratus, a return to television that's been put on hiatus not once but twice now, and a potential spoiler has emerged regarding the plans for the WWE Hall of Famer to make an appearance in WWE ahead of WrestleMania 39. After word had spread in advance of Monday Night Raw this week that Canadian native Trish Stratus was set to appear, but then didn't, fans were wondering what happened. Now, while an earlier report from Fightful Select noted creative changes to plans, there wasn't a lot of additional details. Now, in an update, a bit more information on the emerging situation, as it seems there may or may not still be plans for Trish in the works, but no one really knows. According to the latest report from Fightful Select, they spoke to several within the company who confirmed that a proposed program involving Becky Lynch and possibly other high-level stars had been planned as late as last week. However, Fightful was not able to confirm if that was still in the works, nor any specifics for the plans. So whether or not Trish Stratus will be involved remains a mystery. It was reported that she had left the building before the segment even took place. There was also a rumor or report that she had a long creative meeting with Triple H backstage at Raw. What do we know for sure? Well, Becky Lynch will team up with WWE Hall of Fame Alita to take on Damage Control for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships on this upcoming week's edition of Raw, next Monday night. We know that's happening. As far as anything else, is Trish going to be there that week? I mean, that would be, 3 times that she's flown in and then maybe she's not used? I don't know what's going on. I don't think anyone does. I guess we're just going to have to wait and see what happens. But still, very confusing stuff. Speaking of Raw, we have the ratings for this week's edition of the show on the USA Network as we get closer to WrestleMania. Now, the ratings for the most recent edition of Monday Night Raw have been revealed, showing an increase over the previous week's figures. The episode was the first to take place following Elimination Chamber on February 18, which saw Sami Zayn take on Roman Reigns in the show's main event for the Tribal Chief's undisputed WWE Universal Championship. According to the WrestleNomics Twitter account, the episode was watched by a total of just over 2 million viewers, 2.0006 million viewers. It also scored a rating of a 0.56 in the key 18 to 49 demographic, used by advertisers to indicate the potential profitability of a show. The overall rating was up from the previous week's 1.812 million viewers, an increase of 194,000. The key demographic figure was also up from the previous week's 0.47 rating. Monday Night Raw was also number 1 in the key demographic for Monday across cable originals and broadcast primetime television, which of course WWE will be very happy with, as they would expect during WrestleMania season with no Monday Night Football taking place. Again, I think they would expect these numbers and expect to at least be the top of cable, which they are, but it'll be interesting to see what those numbers do as we get closer to WrestleMania. Cameron Grimes. A lot of people are saying, what is going on with Cameron Grimes? Because he's not in NXT anymore, but we still haven't seen him debut on the main roster. It's very strange. Now, WWE's Cameron Grimes has been rumored to be heading to the main roster for months now, and a new report from Wrestling Observer's Dave Meltzer may indicate why the young star hasn't quite made the full move just yet. Speaking on Wrestling Observer Radio, Meltzer indicated that Grimes is indeed done in NXT, but is currently awaiting a creative plan for his main roster debut. We actually have the full quote here from Dave Meltzer. He said, quote, "So the deal is that Cameron Grimes was finishing up in NXT because he was being called to the main roster. And then right now what's going on is that they're waiting for an idea on the main roster. So he's in limbo. He's finished with NXT. He's supposed to be on the main roster, but they don't have a story for him, so they haven't debuted him yet. And they're waiting to come up with a story for him." Now, Grimes previously made a cameo appearance on Monday Night Raw back in October, recruiting Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson for some help back over on NXT. While at the Raw taping, Grimes also wrestled a dark match before the show began. Ahead of a seemingly imminent main roster debut, Grimes made his last appearance on NXT during the November 8 episode where he lost to Joe Gacy in a singles match. Grimes debuted for NXT back in 2019, and over the course of his time there, he defeated Carmelo Hayes to capture the NXT North American Championship before eventually losing the belt back to Hayes. He also feuded with the likes of Finn Balor, Kushida, and the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase of all people, including LA Knight, where he won, there's $1 Million Championship and all that kind of stuff. Certainly, it was a storyline. It feels like a lifetime ago. Since Paul Triple H Levesque took on the position of WWE's Chief Content Officer, there haven't been as many NXT call-ups as maybe some would have expected. A number of free agents who used to compete under the NXT banner were brought back to join the main roster, including the likes of Johnny Gargano, Candice LeRae, Dakota Kai, and Dexter Lumis. Io Sky joined up with Kai and Bayley to form Damage Control back in August, and the following month Solo Sikoa was called up to be a part of the Bloodline. If Grimes does indeed make his main roster debut, he will join a relatively short list of NXT talent to make the move up during WWE's new era under the former executive producer of NXT. John Cena, of course, is coming back to WWE next month in Boston, Massachusetts, his home state. And John Cena was announced for the March 6th episode of Raw, and now we've got details of the impact that it had on ticket sales. The 16-time WWE World Heavyweight Champion last appeared on SmackDown on December 30th. Of course, that was his only match of 2022, keeping his record intact. With WrestleMania 39 fast approaching, there has been speculation that Cena will face current United States Champion Austin Theory at the two-day event in April 2023 at the Premium Live event. With the announcement of an appearance on the March 6th show in Boston, Dave Meltzer addressed the impact of Cena on ticket sales, saying, quote, "They announced John Cena on Monday night, right? They've sold 2,000 more tickets as of this Wednesday morning with the announcement, so they'll probably end up selling out. The guy, make no mistake about it, just the announcing of John Cena when he was in Laredo, Texas, the first one where he sold out the building for his 20th anniversary show on June 22nd, 2022, and then Tampa, he sold out again December 30, 2022. Tampa did not have anything special as an advance. It was a normal advance. Then as soon as they announced John Cena, tickets started moving really quick, and the other show was the same thing. Boston was fine, that March 6, 2023 show. They were over 7,000 tickets, 7,700 tickets out when they announced him, and now they're probably 10,000 right now, just under 10 as of this Wednesday morning, so one would guess over 10 right now. So the guy can move tickets. That was pretty impressive. I think after all of this time, 20 plus years in WWE, we can probably say to an extent John Cena moves tickets. Yes, he does. Not only to wrestling events, but also to films as well, Dave. Maybe we can give a little bit of credit that he can move tickets. Pat McAfee. What's going on with Pat McAfee? Of course, we saw about the Royal Rumble, but even he doesn't really know about his WWE future. Pat McAfee has been a regular fixture in WWE since appearing in 2018 as a pre-show analyst for NXT TakeOver. He would later sign a multi-year contract in February 2019. His duties wouldn't be restricted to being an analyst either, with McAfee getting involved in the storylines in NXT before moving to WWE, where he would serve as a color commentator on SmackDown. The SmackDown commentator even had his own WrestleMania moment, taking on Austin Theory and then Vince McMahon himself at WrestleMania 38 last year. Now, McAfee has revealed his thoughts on his future in the company in the event of a possible WWE sale. In his annual Think Sesh at the beach, McAfee wrote on Twitter, quote, "Baby girl on the way. What's that mean for my future with WWE? I love it, but they're allegedly going to be sold. Who's buying them? Do I want to work/make money for those people?" Former WWE announcer and current Impact Wrestling Tom Hannifan recently spoke about the positive impact that McAfee has had on the product. Of course, as McAfee notes on Twitter, NFL great Brett Favre is reportedly suing McAfee over defamatory allegations. McAfee returned to the commentary position at the Royal Rumble in January of this year, but hasn't been back since then. His return was described as a, quote, legitimate surprise for all those involved. He was doing College Game Day. I don't know if he's still doing it. I have no idea about the football calendar, to be honest with you. So I don't know what's going on with Pat McAfee, and it would appear he doesn't really know that much either. Finally, some WWE 2K23 news. Two WWE stars have been announced for the My GM mode in the upcoming WWE 2K23 video game that is due for release in March. On the Up, Up, Down, Down, the WWE 2K23 roster ratings were revealed in the video with host Austin Creed and a panel that featured Big E, Tyler Breeze, and Damage Control's Bayley and Dakota Kai, with comments from the rated WWE stars themselves. Among all the chaos and strangeness that ensued during the ratings reveal, some stars weren't happy about their in-game ratings, you see, and an announcement was made about the My GM mode. The My GM mode, which was a welcome return in 2K22, has been improved for this year's iteration of the franchise and will now feature multiple seasons of play with more GMs to choose from and a custom GM creation feature. The changes don't end there, with additional options for show and expanded match cards and types. Among the selectable GMs, as revealed during the WWE 2K23 ratings reveal, will be Tyler Breeze and Xavier Woods. Of course, this is because they had their My GM mode that was all the way through. It was the GM mode series on Up, Up, Down, Down is spectacular, from SmackDown vs. Raw 2006, I think it was. It is brilliant. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. It takes me definitely firmly back to my childhood playing General Manager mode. It was amazing. Now, in addition to that ratings reveal, it was very interesting that Tyler Breeze, he's also going to be involved in the game, not just as a GM, actually as a legend, as a wrestler. What's more is that since Breeze is no longer an active part of the roster, with WWE having released him in 2021, he's technically in the game as a WWE legend, a fact that was met with much chagrin by on-screen rival and Up, Up, Down, Down host Xavier Woods. The announcement was met with chants chants of Breezeburg in the style of Goldberg chants from Breeze's fellow panelists Bayley, Biggie, and Dakota Kai. As I mentioned, it was also announced that they're going to be GMs as well. So there you go. Tyler Breeze is in the game in two functions, as a wrestler and as a general manager. But there you go, guys. It's the latest WWE news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Let me know your thoughts on today's WWE news stories in the comment section below. Remember, if you want to join the WN365 roster, all you have to do is click that join button, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon. Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right-hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.